Hello, this is All Rats with Team 4545 League analyzing the game between Fishhead and Cheery Cherry. This was played in Team Event 53 in the fourth round, and it's a pretty interesting game. Let's have a look. Okay. A little bit of lag, it'll go away, I hope. Okay, we're going into a Ruy Lopez. And we've all seen these moves before. If we know this opening, and this is the move that indicates that Black wants to play the Marshall defense. And for those that don't know, I'll tell the story. I've told it a few places. The story on this is that Marshall discovered this attack and saved it for 8 years. He could have beat anybody with it, but he didn't want to just show it and make it public. He wanted to save it for that special game, and he got his chance against Capablanca in an event, and I don't remember what year. And Capablanca's notes to it was when Black played the Marshall attack, where it was that he knew he would be subjected to an attack, but his instinct told him he could survive it. And then that's exactly what happened. Capablanca beat the attack back and won the game decisively. But then the Marshall was born, and it's developed in theory. Now, if White doesn't want to allow a Marshall, well, he can diverge at several points in the game, including not even playing the Ruy Lopez. But he can play the exchange variation. There's the anti-Marshall A4. I just want to point that out. Anyway, C3, and now if Black wants, he can just play D6 and go into the normal lines, but Black is prepared to play the Marshall, and there it comes. And I want to make a sidestep here and talk about a line that I don't see anymore. Probably it's no good, but at this level of chess, it would be an excellent choice if you're playing the Marshall. So this is a benefit for the people that actually bother to watch these videos, because if you allow a Marshall, you'll want to prepare for it, and if you play a Marshall, you might want to consider it. And it's a line that I used to play back in the mid-1970s, and it's the Steiner variation of the Marshall. And theory says it's bad, or at least compared to what they're playing, but why do we have to play what the grandmasters say? Because we're going to see another 20-30 moves a book here, I think. So the Steiner variation goes just simply like this, E4, and it's got a lot of points to it, and I'll show them in just a second. But again, the point is you're now going into something that you'll know better than your opponent, and that's what I like to do as I prepare people in my online lessons program to stay out of main lines, because what if your opponent knows it better than you? And I guess what's going to happen in this game is that White knew this opening better than Black, and it's unfortunate because Black's trying to play this attack and hope to get away with it. Okay, so essentially what happens with the Steiner attack is this. Okay. And then I think White goes here. And now, for the moment, Black is down 2 pawns, but the pawn on C6 will eventually be collected. And there's a number of interesting tricks here. I think what Black plays here, and he's got some interesting threats. The threats are basically Bishop G4, and the Queen has a little bit of trouble finding a home because of Bishop C5. So I'll just burn a move just to show you what I'm saying. Okay, Bishop G4. Now what does White do? If he plays Queen E3, he gets embarrassed quickly with Bishop C5. What's White do here? He's in trouble. His queen is being X-rayed, or the rook is being X-rayed, because the queen has to get out of the way. And if you put the queen back on G3, it's mate, so White has to give up his queen, and Black wins. Okay, it's basically, this is one of the main themes behind it. Okay, and So where else does white put his queen after bishop g4? There's not too many good squares, is there? You really don't see any. So, as I say, rook e8 just puts the question to white, and I think I don't remember this. I studied this in like 1975 when I was playing it, when I was breaking 1800, and I won a lot of games with it. They were nice games. Maybe someday I'll do a little instructive lesson on some of those games that I won with this. Even though they weren't perfectly played, they'll be on the level of a lot of people that are following my videos, and will become quite useful for them simply because it's something that they can study and play. But like I said, it's a little bonus for those that bother to watch these videos to explain the Marshall, the Steiner variation of the Marshall, and the rest is up to you guys to go look it up and study it. I can't demonstrate everything about it. I just know that I won some nice games with it, at least 2, maybe 3. I'll have to dig through my old score books from that time period. And I had a really good book on the Ruy Lopez, which is way outdated now. It was published like in 1973 by Batsford, and it went into depth about all the lines of the Lopez, and I've long since just sold it to somebody else because it was no good for me. I wasn't playing either side of the Lopez. So anyway, let's go back to the main line, and okay, and this is basically what forms the main line of the Marshall. And now the old move that Marshall first played against Capablanca was knight f6, and that's been replaced these days by the more fashionable too many clicks back, been replaced by the more fashionable c6. And again, I don't know theory on this. I was watching a game online within the last 2 years, so it's probably about a year ago. Nakamura was playing, I think, might have been Nigel Short from England, I don't remember. It was an English GM, and they played a Marshall, and it followed theory forever and ever and ever, and finally they went into an ending that it looked like black had the slight better of it. He had the 2 bishops and a slightly better pawn structure, but it wasn't enough to win, and the game ended up in a draw. And it just seemed almost like 2 computers playing against each other. They played theory for probably 35 moves and another 20 moves and called it a draw. But anyway, I don't know all the theory. I don't care about all the theory. That's your guys' job. You're the ones playing these lines. But it sure looked like book to me. Okay, so black has this tremendous attack going. He's down a pawn, but who cares about the pawn right now? We're not in an ending where that pawn will make a difference. And but black's got to realize too, if white's playing a Ruy Lopez, he's going to be prepared against a Marshall, but he's not necessarily going to be as prepared against the Steiner variation. Okay, so let's move on. Again, I don't know how much of this is book. It sure looks like book to me. And now white can't take the queen. I don't think. Let's see. Queen. Check. And it seems to me like black has a dangerous initiative here. Bishop h, and I'm probably missing something. Bishop h3 check. You probably don't want to go back to e1 or g1 because of rook e8, and the threat is mate down here, so you'd have to be giving up a pawn. And if you come to the e file, you're getting checked. I don't know, but because like I say, I don't know the theory and I don't care. Okay, but this still certainly looks like theory to me. And so but they're taking their time through it, which is good. That way they can, even if you're out of book, if you just sit and take your time, there's a good chance you can find good moves. They're there to be seen. And this, like I say, it looks like black is doing fine. He's just keeping an initiative going here. And this is an interesting move here. I like that. Bishop d1. Now white's saying, now that I'm developed, I'm happy to trade queens. And black refuses. And like I say, it still looks like black's got this fine game. Now he's just picked up the bishop pair, and he's got a target on e3 to play with. And let's put some more pressure on the white position. But unfortunately, white has e4. And now offers a queen trade again. Maybe black should refuse queen e6, but he took. Let's just talk about queen e6 for a second. It's just my first impression. Black has been avoiding queen exchanges all this time. Maybe it's time to do so again. What's it threaten? It's not threatening bishop g4, but it's not really threatening e4. And if white plays e5, the e-pawn is not really attacking the bishop because it's pinned. But the point of this move is that it keeps the queens on the board and keeps more complications going. Because it seems to me, after the queen exchange, white's starting to get the better of it. So queen e6, and who knows, maybe it's a book move. Maybe there's a reason white can't play e6, queen e6 here. Well, if that's the case, then there's a reason black shouldn't play this variation of the Marshall, because it's been solved, because the grandmasters have exhausted the analysis on it, and there's nothing new to be discovered, and you have to rely on someone not knowing the opening to win it. Okay? So that's not a good strategy, because unfortunately people are prepared for the Marshall. That's one of the things they have to work on if they're going to play with Lopez. So play the Steiner variation. Have some fun with that. Okay, I got to revert. Okay, now, so after this queen exchange, it does seem now that white's getting the better of it. So e5 still isn't a threat, but it's going to start taking away some squares from the bishop. We can deal with the pin soon enough. Maybe what black needs to do is play g6 so he can play f6 so he can restrain e5. What does he do? He does play g6. Okay, now let's try f6. Oh, he didn't do it. Okay, but let's just try it on the board. Okay, what can white do? Well, one thing that runs through my mind is, I don't think it's any good, is to play g4 and try and trap the black bishop. But the bishop will get out of there. h5 is coming at some point. And it's going to take white a couple moves to go there and attack it. But I'm not going to analyze it out. Now, like just for instance, black could do nothing here, and if white plays king f2, ooh, well, you can't take on h2, rook h1 comes in. But like I say, it's something for the players to tell me about. I don't care. But black's gone into a mistake by I think f6 is called for. I really do. And although white could be trading one pawn for another, and all these queenside pawns may fall here in a hurry. Pawn takes, e5, trade the pawns, and then bishop takes c6, and unless the rook goes to b8, you lop the other pawn off. I don't know, just something that runs through my head. Okay, so let's get to the main line. So bishop d7 was meant to secure c6, but now white's just got a simple pawn ahead and seeks to find some exchanges and consolidate and win. Okay, so this is fine. It opens up the A file for white, and now comes e5. Now the pawn isn't pinned. Is this a point or is pinned? White can't take on d6. Is this a point for f6? Might be a good move. f6. Okay, what's white do? He could play knight e4, and now the bishop's loose, and f6 is attacked, and maybe this possibility was open earlier. Yeah, knight takes f6 would win an exchange. Knight takes d6 would win a piece. Ouch. Okay, so it's too late. Maybe it was never possible. But anyway, he brought the bishop back. Now maybe he can still get f6 in at some point, but no, not now. Knight's coming into f6. Yep, there it is. It's on f6. That's a great square. So here it looks like white is strategically winning. He's a clear pawn ahead. Black's activity and initiative have vanished, and it's just a matter of white going for a favorable ending, and black doesn't have a lot of time. And this is good. It just wins another pawn or two, and yeah, now the game is hopeless. I guess black could have, or white could have taken on b5, but he didn't. Well, the pawn's not going anywhere. And at this point, black just decided it was too much. He really doesn't have any good moves here. So it's a nice refutation of the Marshall, a little insight into the Steiner variation, and congratulations, Fishhead. Cheery Cherry, keep your chin up. You did okay here, and you obviously are a prepared player. I hope you see this video and take a look at the Steiner attack and come back with some nice wins with it. All right, take care, everybody, and thanks for your time. See you soon.